All right. Hey guys, thanks for being on. We're going to do something a little different. So I typically come to these coaching sessions with an agenda or a predetermined subject matter. And what I kind of realize is that sometimes it's not always meeting y'all where you are. And so I wanted to just take some time today and discuss like what are some topics that you want to hear about, and what's some discussion that you would like to see more of. And I just want to open up to you guys because y'all are at different points in your careers. Vic's sold quite a bit of real estate now in his first full year, and Kevin's brand new. So we're at different ends, I know, with experience level. But one of the keys that I remember from my first year growing up in this real estate business was getting a chance to hear from my peers, to see maybe what they're doing well or what they're struggling with. So we're going to take a little different approach to today, and we're just going to open it up to start with, what are some things you'd like to discuss? Or what are some things that you feel you need help with, or that you're really doing well and want to share with others? So I'm going to stop talking and open it up to you guys, just popcorn style. Just throw some ideas out there.
I'll lead us off.
Thank you.
So I think the first year, the struggle for me was I didn't have a lot. I struggled to get clients, which is obviously pretty important, I've heard. And I had a lot of people within my inner circle who were looking, and they kind of fell through. They either wanted to make a move and just didn't feel like it was the right time, or something else happened. I mean, it was probably close to 8 or 10 of those that happened. And so it's been a struggle to find a client. And now that I've actually got, I've made, we're in contract with one, we're getting ready to list. What's the best way to capitalize off of those? How do you kind of take what you've got going and build off of that? Whether that's from an advertising perspective or social media. I mean, what's the best way to maybe turn that into additional business?
I love that. Call out, because we'll all deal with that. I mean, even right now, I'm 4 years in, and we're gonna sell 60 or 65. But every closing that we have, in my eyes, is an opportunity to grow that business and to build momentum. And what you guys are looking for in this first couple years is to do just what Derek's talking about. That's take from one and turn it into more and more and more, so that you're building that snowball effect. thanks for kicking us off. Do we want to discuss that around as a team, or do we have other topics that we'd like to bring up and we can kind of come back to it?
I mean, one thing I would do in Derek's case is I would just take photos along the whole way. As far as like even just going out, driving around, house shopping with your buyers, walking in different properties. You might not be able to take actually photos inside the properties, or you might get in contact with that realtor first. But I'll just try to take photos of the process along the whole way, just show people their journey and market that.
Okay.
I would agree. There's an agent in our office who does something that I don't know that I love, because I feel like I jinx myself. However, I get why she's doing it. So every step of the way, she takes like a picture of the house that's in contract, and to Jason's point, she says, she goes into Canva or into Command and designs something that says, "We passed inspection." The next post a week later is, "We're through the appraisal process." And what that's doing is it's cluing people in that you're busy and that you're celebrating successes. And you're doing it all within the real estate world. And so then by the time you get to closing, people, in theory, you've built up some interest. People are like, "Oh, this is going to close." Now, nobody's actually thinking that, but you're reminding people of each post that you're helping these clients. And at the end, my recommendation is definitely to make it more about the people than the home. A lot of people post a home and it says, "Just closed, yay." What does that do? Honestly, you sold a commodity, a thing. People want to connect with people. That's why you'll very rarely ever see me post a just closed thing with a picture of a house. I only do that if people didn't want me to take a picture of them, or they're really shy. But every other time, and Derek, I know you and you follow me on, and we follow each other on social media, it's always celebrating the person, the people, the couple that just closed and their journey. I like to give a little brief snippet of, this is what these folks went through, or this is why we celebrate this. And then the key here, in my opinion, is to really be wise with who you're focusing this content towards. So on Instagram, it's really easy to focus content. And what I mean by that is you can hashtag things or people. So if I sold, Derek, if you're selling this house in Powell, you should do a when you go to celebrate, hashtag Powell, hashtag Powell Real Estate, hashtag Powell Realtor.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then what happens is those people who follow Powell Real Estate or whatever, they're going to see your posts, and then that's just more eyeballs on you and celebrating these awesome people. And you're not you're not celebrating the commodity. I want to see how I phrase this. We're not home sellers. We are wealth builders. And when you all realize that this is all a relationship industry and we should be celebrating and touting the people that are making this all possible, that's when we're connecting with people's emotions. And that's what makes people act. I think I've said this before on here. Information makes people think, but emotions make people act. If we can touch a heartstring when we're celebrating with this momentous occasion by maybe saying, we offered on 25 houses and we had inspections fail, but these two persevered, and now Powell's going to be so much luckier for having these people. It shows anyone who sees your post that, number one, you have a huge heart, and number two, this isn't just about you collecting a paycheck. This is about you being a person that anyone would want to talk to about real estate or about selling their home, buying a home, investing, etc. And so what you're doing is building that brand, mission statement type stuff. Like, I'm in this for you. I'm not in this for this physical property. It's not what that's about. And in and above that, I would say you have a sphere, you have a database. They want to know that you're in this thing and you're succeeding in it. If you never let them know, then how will they ever think of you when they think of real estate? Our objective at the end of the day is to stay relevant in people's minds. And I don't know if I shared this the other day, but I just listed and went into contract with a home. We have 3 backup offers. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's got 5 acres. It's nice enough. And honestly, the people that I helped buy this house, I thought they wanted nothing else to do with me. But I put them into a smart plan. And every time I had an email to send out, I would attach them as former clients. And lo and behold, when I go to the listing appointment, they said, "Hey, we love your emails." I'm like, in my head, I was like, really? Because you never respond to a single one, ever. But it's one of those things, by just letting them know, I stayed relevant enough that within a year after they purchased, they called me because they thought of me because I stayed relevant. So Derek, to your point, if you have a success in your business, send that to your sphere. Maybe you do it the first couple of times just through creating like a mini newsletter or something, saying, "Hey, I want to start sending something out of value to folks. Here's my celebration of the month. I wanted to celebrate Jim and Karen for closing on their awesome house, and I can help you do the same. Do you know of anybody?" Like, literally, don't be afraid to ask your sphere for business. Number one, most of them probably won't even open the email, but the ones that do, you're planting that seed like, oh yeah, Derek's a realtor. And this should go for all of us, even if we haven't sold a single thing. So Kevin, we haven't really talked one-on-one lately. I'm going to assume you haven't closed on a house yet. Is that factual?
Yep, that'd be right.
That's okay. You can still be relevant in your sphere's minds. And that's what's going to build momentum. I go back to Casey. Casey was in coaching for over a year, and he had been in the industry like 2 years without selling a single house. And most of you know Casey if you're at Excel. Older guy, great guy, high energy. But he was pretty down on himself. 2 years in, hadn't sold a single thing. He'll tell you, is because he wasn't doing the things that he needed to be doing to get that business. But once he started doing those things and marketing himself and getting in front of people, although it's not my style, and Lauren and Brad, we were talking the other day, his social media is way on the other end of the spectrum of what I would do, but it's keeping him relevant. And so he started to build momentum. So he closed 1 unit and then immediately found himself into another couple of pieces of business. Reason being, he started doing what was necessary and marketing himself and getting in front of people. So Derek, where I'm going with this is a lot of us aren't comfortable getting on social media. A lot of us aren't comfortable sending out emails to people who aren't asking for them. And I want to encourage us to get over that fear. And Casey's a good case in point. I am too. I didn't want to do those things my first year, but I got over that fear. I had to pivot. And 2 weeks ago, we covered, what makes an unsuccessful real estate agent, and that's one that doesn't adjust. We have to adjust. On my team, we're talking about let's go make videos, let's do some things, and we're talking about not being comfortable. And it's when you get outside that comfort zone, the most magic will happen, and you'll start to see a return on that investment. Now, Derek, but you said you're going to be listing a house. Can anyone tell me what the number one way for you to market yourself with a listing is?
Getting out in that neighborhood, letting people know.
That's an amazing way. And conducting an open house, right? Here's what I would do, Derek, if I were you. When we're getting close to going active with their home, number one, print some flyers out, just advertising the home. You can have a title company help you with that, or design something simple yourself. regardless, don't overthink it. All it really needs to have is the picture of the house, what the price is, the address, and in big gold chunky letters, your name, your information, so that they see you. Maybe print 50 of those. That's going to cost nothing, right? Go door knock after you schedule an open house. Go door knock, door to door, and just say, hey, my name's Derek, and I'm the realtor for this listing that we're going to have coming up down the street. And we're expecting a lot of traffic. Would love to invite you to the open house. Also, would love it if you know of anyone looking to buy in the area. You'd send them my information. Would love to connect with them. But just being a present face to face. When they see you at their door, do you think they have a higher opinion of you versus other realtors they know? Maybe not. Maybe they have that no soliciting sign. They just hate people knock on their door. But there's going to be a respect level earned because you're doing the thing that the other 99% of the agents aren't doing. You're actually out there pounding the pavement. You're doing things old school, like Jason mentioned. But then holding the open house is the best possible way for you to market yourself, because what you're really looking for at an open house is unrepresented buyers and other people who are looking to sell their house in the area that don't have a realtor. The way you do that in an open house, we've had many classes on open houses, is just be yourself, but be prepared. Over market it. Let people in the neighborhood see you doing all these extra things to plus up and get your open house ready. And then once it gets in contract, go do the same thing again, loop back with those people and say, hey, I know we just talked last week, but I just want to let you know I already got that thing in contract, and we had multiple offers. We had so many people through. I just wanted to know again, like, do you know of anyone thinking of selling? Or if not, I just want to let you know your home value, trust me, it's going to go up. You can thank me later. Or we had so much traffic. I just wanted to apologize for all the traffic that I generated by marketing it. Just wanted to say sorry. Like, that's a backhanded promotion of yourself, right? So there's so much that you can do to market yourself, especially with a listing. That's why we always talk about listings. Like, listings lead to more things. And one listing should lead to momentum in your business, because in theory, you should be able to find at least one unrepresented buyer or seller from an open house. That's why we say, and this is something else that you can do, especially like a Kevin or, somebody who hasn't, a Henry, you haven't sold a ton of real estate yet. Sam, you're just getting your license. Like, go offer to hold people's open houses, but don't just go on Sunday at 1 o'clock and expect to get all this business. You're not doing the due diligence if you do that. If I have an open house and I allow Kevin to hold my house open for me, I would thoroughly expect Kevin to do his homework, create a flyer, go door knocking himself, because ultimately this isn't about him marketing my home. This is about him marketing himself. You all have the ability to go offer your services up to hold open houses. I know Vic and Lauren have done that. Brad, I think, has done that too. Jason, maybe as well. Go offer in your office to hold people's houses open, and then do all the work that leads up to making it look like it's your listing. Social media, post it as if it's yours. At the open house, act like, yeah, this is, if no one's going to ask, I thought this was John Smith's listing. No one cares about that. They're like, oh, tell me about the house. And then you put a really good, face on for people who are essentially interviewing you to be their agent. So Derek, that's a long-winded answer to your question, but how to capitalize on the business that you already have is much easier with listings, because you have that ability to hold open houses, right? And have a reason to get out there. Now, how do you capitalize on a buy side? Well, after you close, what would it look like to put a sign in the yard in that new house that says, just sold by, and then it's got your sign. And then underneath it, maybe it says, welcome the new neighbors, something like that. That makes you look like it's all about the people and you want the neighborhood to welcome them. What would it look like to go door knocking with a flyer and say, hey, I just want to let you know, I just sold this house. I just sold this house for way over asking price. Or I know you're at list price or whatever, but I just sold this house in your community. Do you happen to know of anyone else who might be looking to sell their house? What would it look like to have the Romanelli group here at the office does this every once in a while, and I love the idea. What would it look like to have a housewarming party, throw the housewarming party for the buyers in their new house? And you just tell them, hey, invite 25 people. I'll cater it. I just want to be there. Do you think that that would build momentum in your business by throwing a party and just being a presence there? And guess what? I guarantee the people who bought the house are going to introduce you to all their friends and introduce you as, hey, this is Derek. This is the agent that got me the house. Is there a better way to contact people than that? I don't think so. So don't be afraid to blow up social media, the process all the way along the way, like Jason was saying. Don't be afraid to be a presence in the neighborhood. Those activities are what's going to get you that snowball rolling downhill. Is there anything else, any other ideas that y'all have that could help Derek, especially along this path of trying to build 1 into 2 and 2 into 4, et cetera?
Well, it's some great feedback, and I appreciate it. And I'll piggyback off that, and then I'll shut up and let other people talk. In regard to open houses, given we're getting into football season, and so you look at this weekend, and we've got the Buckeyes playing at noon. You've got Cleveland and Cincinnati playing on Sunday at 1 p.m. I don't know how much those impacts flow through a home on an open house, but would you recommend doing that afterwards? I mean, I would assume you would want to do it on those off hours.
1000% correct. Here's one thing that I've done before. I've done in a Friday open house. And the way I do it is kind of like saying, let's do a happy hour, come grab a beverage and see this awesome house. Some people have done food trucks before. Don't go that route if you don't need to. But otherwise, what we do that's easy and gets it knocked out is we do morning open houses. So like 9 to 11. That's going to beat all the traffic. Most people don't schedule anything for the mornings on the weekends anyways. And you can bring coffee and donuts. Make it easy. Coffee and donuts together cost, I don't know, 20, 25 bucks. You're providing people with something. You're allowing them to see it before the games start. And selfishly, you're knocking it out for the day.
Got it. Like it. Thank you.
In this market, depending on the average days on market, Derek, I would possibly recommend doing that on a Saturday as opposed to waiting till Sunday, because a lot of times homes are in contract by Saturday night. And your objective in building this business and building momentum is to get an open house. Remember this, guys, our open houses are not to sell the house. That's not why you do an open house. We don't tell the sellers that, but deep down inside, an open house is your number one best lead gen activity. And so selfishly, you're doing an open house to build your business, to find that unrepresented buyer or seller, and to do activities that will lead to business. That's a great call out, Derek, and I'm glad you said it. Do never hold an open house even close to an Ohio State game. Never hold one. Browns are more followed than the Bengals, but now that the Bengals made the Super Bowl, you never know.
Hey, Josh, quick question as far as what you jumped on, as far as like food at the open house. Have you noticed the difference from COVID to pre-COVID as far as how people eat at open houses?
Vic or Lauren, what are your thoughts on that? I honestly give my open houses to these guys. I have my opinion, but Vic or Lauren, what are your thoughts? You have to unmute.
Can you repeat the question, please?
I guess my question was, has anyone noticed a difference as far as like, I guess it might be hard for you guys to answer this question because I don't know if you guys are working pre-COVID. I know, like I've bought donuts and stuff before. It was like during COVID, and like nobody really ate anything. And I don't know if that was because it was COVID or was something else. Just people weren't hungry. So I was just asking if anybody could answer that question for me.
I never worked before COVID, but I did notice like anytime that food was brought, I agree that it wasn't I don't know if you remember that one time we did it for Buffy and nobody ate any donuts, not even the kids. So yeah, I mean, the open houses I've done that had food, I noticed that people didn't eat as well.
Okay.
Now, what I would say is, my opinion is this. I think if you want to be safe, go get prepackaged stuff. So if you're doing like a 1 to 3 open house, maybe get prepackaged chips, prepackaged crackers, stuff like that, bottled water, juice boxes, nothing that's community based. Victor's not talking. I don't know the answer, but we've done donuts before, and I feel like we've done 2 dozen before, and we made it through 1 dozen, so he still had 1 dozen left over. I do feel that people are a little timid these days, but just your offering of food shows that you came prepared and you thought of everything.
To be honest, I usually have to pressure them into eating them. Like I ask them multiple times, do they want one? So I don't got to take the trash.
There you go. End of the day, it's not necessarily about people taking the food, right? It's about looking put together, because you're interviewing for a job you don't realize that you're interviewing for sometimes. You're interviewing for that job because those unrepresented people are looking for somebody that can help them. Victor's a perfect example of this. The actual open house that I'm even talking about is the one where you got the buyers from, that you already closed a deal on, now that I'm thinking about it. And we offered donuts and stuff to them. And it wasn't about him offering a donut. It was about him being engaging. And he actually invited them to an event that we held like the next week, and they actually came. He stayed in front of them. And so he took that open house and built momentum in his business off of that open house. So little things at open house, like music, ambient music in the background, maybe some candles, signage for sure, like overdoing the signage, go above and beyond. Derek, if you don't have directional signs, go order some. They're not expensive. If you don't have balloons, get balloons, blow those bad boys up. There's a ton of things you can do. I would recommend tons and tons of signage around the neighborhood, because all that is you branding and marketing yourself, even to the more so than just you helping them sell their house. This is you getting your name out there and brand recognition. Awesome conversation. Anything else on this topic?
Yeah, and I guess my question was not to discourage anyone from bringing food. It's just to think about how much you're bringing, and that's what you guys think about.
Yeah, that's a good call out, Jason. Don't overdo it. Don't be bringing 6-foot party subs, because odds are it's not going to get eaten and you're going to have a ton of leftover. That's a good call out. One thing I'll say, that Derek mentioned something. He said, when you're starting out, it was a challenge to get clients. Isn't that our number one problem? I mean, I'm 4 years in, and every once in a while it feels like the well dries up, and we do a good business. And so I remember 4 years ago talking to my wife saying, after this one closes, I don't know what's going to happen. But I kept doing the activities, right? what are your thoughts on, and this is great conversation for like Sam and Henry and Kevin, who are just starting out. What are some things that we can do to get clients? Just got your license. What should we be doing to go get clients?
I would say focus more on lead gen. I mean, that's my personal opinion because that's what I'm doing right now. I've sat down the past couple of days and just try to explore all the lead gen options and the ways to lead gen. So I'm trying to revamp that.
Let's dive into that. That's what this business is all about. It's a lead gen business. So I just get my license. Cool. What are some lead gen? What are some ways for you to start getting your name out there?
Contact the people you already know.
How?
Call, text, stop by any way you can.
Handwritten note.
Yeah.
I encourage everyone on my team, you have to write a handwritten note in order to start getting your leads and stuff, or to stay on our team. You gotta write that handwritten note. And I tell people, figure out who your top 50 are. And this doesn't stop with being a brand new agent. So Derek and Lauren, you guys have been around for a minute now. What would prevent you from doing the same thing again? Writing another handwritten note to your top 50 people, the people who are your biggest supporters. You know, Jason, Vic, you guys have been in this for a while. Even me, 4 years in. What would prevent us from writing a handwritten letter, written with sincerity, stating, hey, Jim Smith, just want to let you know we're having a good year in real estate, but we could always use more help. And I would love it. Here's a few cards enclosed. Would still love it if you wouldn't remind people that I'm a great realtor and a great resource for anything home related. Nothing would stop us from doing that. Do you think that would be a business increasing practice? Absolutely, it would. You said phone call. You said getting in front of people. What would be how would you get in front of these people to let them know that you're a realtor now? And this is a conversation for everyone, not just Brad.
Well, social media is the easiest, right? But I was thinking getting more creative and having like a party where people come over and getting, so I can get in front of them that way.
Cool. Let's brainstorm. How would we go about having a party? So it's been a while for some of us to throw a party. So how do you throw a party? Number one, how do you approach it in a way that doesn't feel too beat you over the head with, hey, I'm a realtor now. Like this, do you name it, I'm a realtor now party? Or do you find some other excuse to have a party?
Any excuse, Josh, any excuse.
So what Derek just brought up, it's football season. Would that be an amazing excuse to get conversations? Lauren just went down to a tailgate. Her and her family held a tailgate last week. Lauren, you don't have to, I know you're sick, but I'm assuming you got a lot of real estate conversations out of that. I'm assuming that's true. Football parties, fantasy football draft parties. The holidays are coming up soon. Are you gonna have a Halloween party? You're gonna have a trunk or treat. Christmas parties are coming up soon. Thanksgiving's coming up. What about a Friendsgiving? If you're not a social person that doesn't like to do these things, odds are you're not going to be a good realtor. Just point blank, I'm going to say that. If you don't like people and being around them, it's going to be a challenge for you to be a successful realtor, because that's what this whole industry is about. Not to say you can't be an introvert and still be really good at this. I'm just saying, if our goal is to get out and get to know more people and to let our world know that we're in real estate, the easiest way to do it is in front of people. Okay, so we're going to let people know, but we're going to write letters. We're going to get in front of them physically. You mentioned phone. What does that phone call look like? You're talking about lead gen, but which, by the way, if you guys tune out to everything else that's been said in this whole coaching session, hone in on this piece right here. We're taking a 7-week course called Bold, and it teaches us how to, number one, time block for the things that are important in our lives, live a life that's by design. But one of those things is focusing on the thing that's most important in our business, that being lead generation. So all this stuff that we're talking about are things that you must do, or else you will not have a business. Now, I'm not saying you must do every single piece that we're bringing up, but maybe one or two of these pieces really resonates with you. And as your coach, I want to push you into those things. So a phone call. Lauren says, do the things that make you feel uncomfortable. Amen, sister. What's that phone call look like? Can somebody give me an idea of what that phone call might look like?
Well, like we just did in Bold, like the gratitude phone call is probably the easiest for me, as far as being sincere and then still turning around and asking for referrals or asking for help. But giving gratitude first to someone, that's an easy phone call.
Can we do a role play? I'll be the agent. Brad, since you're the only one talking. Sorry, bud. So ring, ring.
Hi, Josh.
Hey, Brad, man, I know it's been a while. This is Josh. I just wanted to call, and I'm calling you very specifically because it's been a while since we talked, and I just wanted to connect and see how you're doing, and to let you know that, I've got some exciting news in my life, but I really wanted to call and just see how you were doing, check in on you. How's things going?
Things are going well. New career's going well. Family's doing well. Things are looking up.
Nice, man. Yeah, I saw on Facebook that you got a new job. How's things like with the new job?
It's going really good. We're moving pretty fast and learning every day. Everything's good.
Nice, man. Now, most people will say, "And how's your work?" So say that.
How's things with you? How's the real estate industry?
Oh man, it's good actually. That's why I was calling. I just got my real estate license a month ago. I'm glad you said something. I was calling to see if you got my letter that I'd written. I just wanted to re-echo what I wrote in that letter, and that, Brad, you're really important to me, and I want to be your biggest cheerleader as you're getting into your new job. And I'm hopeful that in the future, maybe if there's anybody that talks about real estate, that you take one of those cards I gave you and maybe you give that out. But ultimately, it's not about that. I just want to, see if there's anything that I can do to help you with you or your family. Is anything I can do to help you, sir?
No, but I'll definitely keep that in mind. I actually do have a couple of people that may be looking to sell soon, so I'll definitely give your card out.
Yeah, I would really appreciate that. Hey, when can we get the families together, the kids together, and let them run around?
Let's shoot for next month.
All right, man. I'll send you a couple dates. I would love to reconnect and just hang out, have a couple beers. Sound good?
Absolutely.
Awesome, Brad. Thanks so much. So that obviously not scripted. Like, I don't love the term script because it sounds like robotic, like you're just going through the motions. And most people feel that on the other end of the phone. So my encouragement to y'all is get comfortable just calling people. And that gratitude call, like, hey man, just want to let you know you're important to me. I was thinking about you, wanted to check in, see how you're doing. Like, does that sound too salesman-y? It doesn't to me, but maybe it does to you guys. What's your feedback on that? Kevin, what are your thoughts? Is this something you've tried? Have you tried calling the people that you know already?
I've tried calling a few people. So still trying to get in the hang in of what to say and that sort of thing too. So.
Yeah, I want to say this. Don't think you need to know everything. And even if we feel like we're not very good at small talk, just having one or two questions in mind, like, hey, just wanted to check in. How are things at home? Or during COVID, it was real simple. Hey, you guys doing okay? I'm just calling everyone I know and seeing if there's anything I can do for you. But the same holds true now. Like, hey, I know we're out of COVID and stuff, but the world's still a crazy place. I wanted to let you know that I'm here for you if you need anything. Just want to call and check in. How's the family doing? That conversation is going to flow. I promise you. And I know you're probably a lot younger than me, but and maybe not have as many people in your database. But the only way to grow that database is to talk to more people, to talk to people in general. If it's something that we're just scared of, just do what Lauren said. Be okay with doing the uncomfortable. I promise you'll find success in that. How else can we get clients? Derek said something when he was talking. Derek, you said you had a couple people that were interested in doing stuff and then it just kind of fell off. So yep. Tell me, do we just wash our hands with those people and just let them reach out to us, or do we somehow find a way to stay present in their world so that when the time changes and they are ready again, that you're their guy or gal?
Well, that's actually what led to my listing now is just circling back just through general conversation. And so this was a conversation I'd had last year with somebody that turned into something this year.
Awesome. A lot of success in our business is found in the follow-up. I won't lie. There have been plenty of leads that I've had that have fell right through the cracks. And I have no one to blame but me because I didn't have a system in place. I want to encourage y'all, if you have even one person who has even mentioned real estate to you in the past however long, write that name somewhere where you see it. If you've got a home office, write it on a piece of paper next to your computer or on the wall or whatever. That way you remember to follow up with that person religiously. If you're a command person, set a reminder for yourself. Set a smart plan for that person. But you have to be systematic. If I could help you do one thing, it would be to create a follow-up system in order to remember to contact people. So I have a system on my team that I have a person who helps me call individuals in my world. It's called it's a weekly call system where each week we call 2 different letters of the alphabet. And it's a system that's in place, and we have tags in our command for every contact that funnels them into a 2-letter system. And so every 13 weeks, our system is to contact those people. You could do the same thing without any technology at all on your cell phone. If you just pulled open your contacts and you said to yourself, this week, I'm going to do A and B. So you go to your A's, whoever leads off your contacts, and you just call them. You don't think about it. You don't say no for them. You don't have a limiting mindset. You say, I'm just going to call this person and check in on them. F it. Yeah, I just said that. F it. You call them, say, hey man, I know it's a random to hear from me. It's been years. I just wanted to call and reconnect with my people in my phone, see how you're doing. So how you doing? And then see where the conversation goes. If you don't love small talk, there's this acronym that we've talked about in the past. I'll type it into the chat. It's FORD. You can talk about family, talk about occupation, talk about recreation, talk about their big dreams. Hey, how's the family? Oh yeah, how's work going? Cool. You got any vacations coming up? The kids are back to school. You got anything fun coming up? You going to any games? hey, what do you think about for vacations next year? What do you got going on next year? Anything big and crazy and exciting? These are all small talk things that really will help if you struggle with how to flow a conversation. But please get out of your own way. The number one thing people most realtors struggle with, and the reason they find no business, is because they're not willing to get out of their own heads, and they make excuses for why people won't pick up the phone or don't want to talk to them. And we're learning all this stuff in bold, or reiterating it in bold. The average realtor, we heard this stat this past week and it blew my mind. The average realtor across the United States in the last 12 months has sold how many homes, you think? Give me some guesses.
So the average realtor?
Yeah, on average, how many homes has a realtor sold this year in the last 12 months?
4.
5.
Give me one more guess.
I'll guess 5 too, Josh.
2.5. The average realtor the last 12 months has sold 2.5 homes. Now, that is, if I do my calculations right, the average commission is $7,000. That's gross before any commission splits. Is that enough to live on? I mean, that's not enough to live a lavish lifestyle. It might be enough to squeak by. But guys, we want to be selling a lot more homes than that. Why is that the number? Because I know why that's the number. The market has shifted. It's not as easy as it was. And there are a boatload of realtors. And so that drags that number down. The majority of productive realtors are doing these things we're talking about, getting out of their own way, or they've already gotten comfortable just picking up the phone and dialing, or they've already gotten comfortable just picking up that phone and filming a video of them. They've already got comfortable being on social media every day, or they've already gotten comfortable sending out mass emails. We've just given you a multitude of things that you can be doing to get your name out there and to get clients. At the end of the day, if we want to be successful in this industry, we just have to let everyone and their mama know that we're in real estate. Seems pretty simple, yet we get in our own way, right? Let's shift gears. We got about 10 minutes left. What other topics would you guys like to talk about? I want to set the agenda for the next few coaching sessions based on whatever it is you guys would like to talk about. End of the day, I want this to be something that you guys look forward to coming to and where you feel like you're going to get value and answers for you specifically, because odds are if you specifically have a question, guess what? The other 7 or 8 people on this call are going to have the same exact question. What other topics you want to hear?
It's not really a topic. Just a general statement I want to make. As far as this real estate thing, everybody's journey is going to be different. So what works for some may not work for others. The area where some found success may not work for others. Some people's fears are a lot better than others. Plain out and simple. It's hard. And you got to have something to look forward to, something to do every day. And that's hard as well. So you got to plan out things. Always have a plan. And that's what I've learned along the way. Just always have a plan. No, people are going to break your heart. The closest people to you are going to break your heart. It's going to piss you off. I've been there. But don't compare yourself to anyone else. As far as the outcomes, now try to compete with the next person, but don't compare yourself. That's all I got to say.
I love that, Jason. And one of the things I was talking to some of my team yesterday about was, it's funny, like you see these people, these other agents who seem so well put together, and then you see their numbers and that they've only sold 1 or 2 houses in the last year. You're like, well, dang, you look like you know what you're talking about. And I had you up on this pedestal, but really you're just like me. You struggle with the same things as I do. Or maybe I'm doing way better. I'm doing better. I'm doing the things that make me feel uncomfortable. I'm doing the things that the other 99% of people aren't doing. So to your point, don't compare yourself directly to others. That's a dangerous game. You're just going to feel bad about yourself, or you're going to generate these stories about these other agents being way better than you, when in fact, that may not be the case at all. Or even if they are, view it as an opportunity to learn from them and what they're doing well, and not a point of envy, I guess, is where I'd go with that. So good call out, Jason. Thanks for sharing that. And if you, let's say your sphere isn't as large as other people's, what's your plan to increase your sphere, your database? If I'm currently at 100 people that I know, how could I get to 150 by the end of the year? You gave me 4 months. I'm pretty sure I could go meet 50 new people or contacts or resources. We're doing a practice in Bold, and this is one of those things that I think would be a really fun coaching session. We have 3 different pages. It might even be 3 to 5 pages of vendors. And they said, who do you use for this certain service? So who's your dentist? Who's your plumber? Who's your electrician? Who are your kids' sport coaches? Who are your kids' school friends? Why are those things important? Because once you start writing those names down, you're going to realize, oh, duh, that my dentist isn't in my database. Oh, duh, my physician isn't in my database. I already have their name, their email, and their phone number. Put them in my database. And what you'll find is, through doing this practice, you have a ton of people that you haven't even really thought of as being a part of your database, your sphere, but they really are. So identifying those individuals and then plugging them into your database, starting to send them content, and then intentionally reaching out to them saying, hey, dentist John, this is Josh. I've been visiting you for years. I'm putting together a list of preferred vendors in the area because I'm a realtor. And a lot of people ask me, especially if they're new to the area, like, hey, what dentist do you recommend? I'd love to meet up with you and just talk about like how we could maybe help each other out, where maybe I give your name out, and maybe you, if anyone ever, mentions real estate, maybe you give my name out. Could we meet up for coffee or a cleaning soon? Like that isn't hard. But this practice of looking through your vendors and stuff, and if you guys are up for it, I think that'd be a really fun coaching session to do sometime soon. It would definitely help build your database. Any other ideas for future coaching sessions? They don't have to be grand ideas. You could say, so I want to know more about social media. I want to know more about commands, smart plans, any of that stuff. I mean, what are you guys struggling with right now?
I think we should do it. Go ahead, Lauren.
Sorry about that. I had a client from out of state ask me about looking into foreclosures and short sales and like auction homes and stuff. I've never worked with that. And so I wasn't really sure, what to say. So maybe if we could talk about those, especially short sale is something, when I tried looking it up, it was a little bit confusing.
I think we'd have a better conversation around foreclosures and auctions because short sales are so few and far between these days. The reason they say short sales is because back in like the early 2000 teens, everyone was going through a short sale because of the housing crisis. So they couldn't afford their homes. So they were doing these things called short sales, which is basically through a bank. But to your point, basically there's not a lot of those out there anymore. So it's few and far between, but we could definitely talk about auctions and foreclosures and like how to go about those. That's a good one. What were we going to say, Jason?
I was going to say, I think we should have a session on basically kind of what I was talking about as far as setbacks, how to deal with those, how to move forward, how to deal with difficult people, just the difficult things of real estate, how to respond, failures, how to respond.
That's an awesome one. I've got plenty of material there to deal with, and I'm sure we all feel like we have failures, but those failures have gotten us to where we are today. Jason, you posted something, I think it was you posted like a story or something that said something about please don't let me take things personal today or something like that. What was that story? What did it say?
Oh no, I don't think that was me. I don't think so.
It wasn't? Okay. Well, there was one that resonated with me. I'll try and find it real quick. What other topics do we have you want to hear about? Kevin, you're brand new, man. What roadblocks or hurdles are you facing right now?
As of right now, just a quick thing. I'll make it quick. My cousin, she called me the other night and wants me to represent her, be a realtor. Is there any suggestions on how to? They're going through pre-approval right now. Is there any suggestions on how to keep that energy high until we do find a home once they're pre-approved? Because if I'm being honest, the area that they're looking for, the listings are few and far in between.
Number one, set them up on a search, even if they're not pre-approved. If you've not already done that, set them up on a search so that they start getting that excitement about seeing the ones that are out there.
Okay.
If listings are few and far between, then we need to go and find some listings. And that is a challenge, requires a little bit more legwork, but on your days off, I'd recommend going door knocking, or I'd recommend getting on the phones and trying to call people. If you need help with how to find phone numbers and how to cold call, etc., like I'm happy to help there. We have some systems you can use that would be beneficial for you. But door knocking and actually trying to find them listings would be the most beneficial. But yeah, showing them what's available will really start to get their juices flowing and inspire them to get their pre-approval quicker. Should only take 2 days max to get a pre-approval if they're serious.
Okay.
Good question.
I would like to hear also a meeting on other avenues of real estate as far as like getting into owning rental properties and things of that sort. If you know anything about that, I mean, I know you're fairly new too, Josh, so you might not know much information on it, but just other avenues, a way to generate income.
I am newer than some old dogs. I do have a couple investment properties and I'm pretty well versed at that process. But other things that I wrote down right before you said that was like, and I think it's a great idea. What if we had a conversation about what it looks like to do land or commercial or property management, that type stuff? I know Brad's currently involved in a potential land deal that could be huge. And this would be the first time that him or I have done it. So we leaned on Joe Jansen in our office to help guide us through like how to tackle that. So we've got plenty of resources that can teach us those things. And I think that'd be really wise for us to tackle. Well, guys, good topics. Derek, were you about to say something?
No, I was just going to ask if you were talking about land as in like purchasing land to build on.
Land to build on, but also land to develop.
Gotcha.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for your participation. Thanks for these good ideas. We'll definitely infuse our next few coaching sessions with these, and I look forward to talking soon. Have a great week.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.